As always, whānau, there's an angle to this job seekers that no one seems to have actually picked up on yet. And I'll tell you what it is shortly. But 18 and 19-year-olds, it's interesting as well, Chewie, it's from November of next year. There's something happening before November next year. It's a little election. So I wonder why they've set it into if they were to win the start of a second term. I don't know what the rationale for that would be, other than they just want to play Let's Get Tough and never actually get called on it. You know, that could be one of the reasons they're doing it. But let's have a look at the government's decision to make 18 and 19-year-olds responsible primarily of their parents, unless their parents earn under $65,000. Remembering that minimum wage is near enough to $50,000. So if you've got two parents on minimum wage, then they must support their 18 and 19-year-old. If you've got two parents, one's on minimum wage, one's got a part-time job on minimum wage, they probably then have to support their 18 or 19-year-old child. Let's have a look at the story.
The government's plan to limit access to job seeker support for 18 and 19-year-olds has triggered concerns about rising poverty and hardship.
No shit.
The Greens say there aren't enough jobs available for the more than 4,000 teenagers expected to become ineligible. But the Prime Minister says he's determined to curb benefit dependency. Political correspondent Zane Small.
By cracking down on those in society that are genuinely the most vulnerable. They're going to curb it. They're going to get rid of it.
Reports.
A grey day in the capital to match the reaction of punters we spoke to about the government's policy of limiting access to benefit support for 18 and 19-year-olds.
I don't think it's a great idea, to be fair.
I think it's harsh and it's going to cause big problems.
But the Prime Minister insists it will ultimately help young people.
Setting up an expectation that it's okay just to drift on to an unemployment benefit.
I've got some video to play from breakfast. I may or not play all of it, but he sets up these scenarios that, like, you finish the line with, says no one anywhere ever. One of the things he said on breakfast is, you know, this kid who might have had bad attendance at school. What? You've got this in radio, we used to call it a psychographic listener. It would be a real specific person that you were broadcasting to. When I was at More FM, it was like a 32-year-old woman was the psychographic listener. He's setting this up to be like a real specific person, and it's really interesting. I would wonder if you got Luxon to shut his eyes, who was the specific person he was talking about? What did they look like? Because he speaks very specifically about a person like it's all people who are going to be on this.
Setting up an expectation that it's okay just to drift on to an unemployment benefit or to Jobseeker is not right. We're not doing the right thing by New Zealand for the long term.
From November 2026, 18 and 19-year-olds without dependent children will have to pass a new parental assistance test to qualify for Jobseeker support. If the applicant's parents earn more than $65,500 a year, they will not be eligible, and their parents will be expected to look after them.
The salary threshold is quite low for parents, I think.
Yeah, think about that. That's two part-time minimum wage salaries could get you there. You know, two people working 3 or 4 days a week on minimum wage would get you there. Those are the people who this government is saying, sorry, and he did say this in one of the interviews, you chose to have them. That's literally where he's at.
Those parents having to support 18, 19-year-olds will put an extra burden on families who are already doing it pretty tough.
I understand that the government's trying to reconfigure, however, for young people, there doesn't appear to be, and as I live in Wellington, particularly in the Wellington area, work for them.
The unemployment rate in Wellington has been rising over the past year. For example, the largest portion of the public service workforce is in the capital. And the latest data from the Public Service Commission shows there were about 2,000 fewer full-time employees in March compared to the same time last year.
The truth is that there's simply not enough jobs for young people out there at the moment. The government should be focusing on creating jobs as opposed to punishing young people.
To encourage young people to find work, the government is introducing a new bonus payment of $1,000 for eligible 18 to 24-year-olds on Jobseeker support who stay off the benefit for at least 1 year. That payment will be available from October 2026.
We are saying to our young people under the age of 25 that work matters. It's so much more beneficial for you than going on to a life of welfare.
The young people
See again, is a real specific person. going on to a life of welfare, which is not the majority of 18 or 19-year-olds who use JobSeeker for a period of time. So he's talking real specifically about what this person is going to be. They're going to have poor attendance at school. They're going to float on to JobSeeker, and all of the people around them are going to encourage them, and they're going to stay there for the rest of their lives. It's real specific, the person that he's talking about.
We serve here at Kickback. Look, they are looking for work. They are applying for jobs. They are getting rejected over and over again, told that they don't have the experience, told that they don't have the right level of training.
Barriers to the workforce that young beneficiaries will have to break through to get their $1,000 bonus.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. The other thing about it is he said on breakfast about the $1,000 bonus. He's like, if we can stop young people going on to benefit, the stats will show they can be on benefits at $18,000 a year for 18 years or something. That's a lot of money. And I did the numbers that he was talking. It's just under $300K. And he's like, here's $1,000. Like, even if you were doing this like a business thing, and even if someone was like jerry rigging the system, do you think offering them $1,000 is going to get them to go, oh, yep, well, I won't take that 300,000 other dollars then? Like, even their solution of that seems bloody stupid, Chewie. But you're welcome back, Chewie. Welcome back to the commentary. The bald-headed ball is yours.
This has been so drearily predictable.
Yeah.
From the start of this government, that they don't want us to call it this, but they have been doing austerity. And everything that we know to be true, to be provable, that happens every time a government goes down the line of austerity measures, everything that we know will happen has happened. So they've tanked the economy.
Yep.
They've laid off a whole bunch of people in the terms of like, we've got to tighten our belt. Times are tough. Okay. So they've put the shits up everybody in this country to the point where either their wages have come down, their costs have gone up, whether it's food, power, rent, childcare, transport. It has all gone up. Nobody is getting a pay rise to keep up with that. Everybody's getting, if you're getting a pay rise at all, it's under the level of inflation. So you're getting a pay cut.
Yeah, real terms.
So then the money is not flowing into the economy. So then businesses go, we need to tighten our belt and cut costs. So you have more people out of a job. Sorry, I don't have hours. We don't have the work coming in. Nobody is doing their kitchen renovations at the moment. That sort of thing. And so it flows. Now, if you're a young person with little experience, you've just come out of high school, that sort of thing, you are now competing with all of these other people that have more experience than you for fewer and fewer jobs. Now, you look at all of the stats of how many jobs are being advertised on Seek, how many people are on Jobseeker, and the total amount of jobs in the economy at the moment, there is not work for everyone. So if you're young, you're at the bottom of the pile. If you're young and brown, well, I'm sorry, we know we have systemic problems finding you a job. But now we're going to have the person that said on election night he was going to lead a government for all New Zealanders, sitting there and going, yeah, 18, 19-year-olds, you're legally adults. You should legally be able to access all of what we have available. But no, we're going to blame this on parents, and we're going to set it so fucking low that, two full-time jobs? Is it a full-time and a part-time job?
Yeah, no, because what's minimum wage is about $25 an hour, eh?
Yeah.
Pretty close to it. So 25 times 40 is of course 1,000. So 52,000 a year is about minimum wage. So, and they're saying 65. So basically minimum wage full-time salary for let's just be 1950s family here, for dad, and mum working a weekend day. And you're there.
Wow, that's low. There's, and again, he's painting this idea of like, oh, well, if you've got a young person that can't get a job, then they're playing PlayStation. They're useless. Every other resource that they've taken away apprenticeship funding, they have taken away funding from polytechs, they've taken away those pathways. Like, you could sit there and go, you need to be earning or learning, one of them, but that's not an option there either.
Well, and they've also taken
vocational training,
and they've also taken away first year free. So this is the time when we talked about first year free of tertiary education, last year free, and they're saying, well, go train. So what they're saying is there's not jobs for you to get them out there, so go and get into debt instead, because there's no first year free. Now, if first year was free, like earn or learn, fine, because first year is free. But now first year is not free, so you can either have your parents support you, who are a full-time worker at minimum wage and a 2-day-a-week worker at minimum wage threshold, pretty much, or you can go and get into $8,000 to $10,000 worth of debt for your first year. Because I don't want to spoil this for Mr. Luxon. It's a little secret here. If you're under that 65K average, or if you're in or around that for two parents, you probably haven't got money put aside to pay for your kids' first year of university or polytech. It's probably not there. You see what I'm saying?
So, I mean, look at another thing. Traditionally, when times are tough, what's a good job? Get into the trades. Something that I think has been overlooked for years, of like, university doesn't have to be the only option. Not everybody is set up for university. Not everybody needs a degree, but we do need people to make things, right? What else have we lost over this year? 20,000 tradies. Those are your small business owners, the people that might take on an apprentice. So the people that would have done that and accessed the apprenticeship framework that National has taken away, they're not even there to do it either. So now we have this death spiral going on that this government is just blaming on PlayStation. It is something that plays well in Facebook groups. It is something that plays well with one of the crunchies in the chat that I'm seeing go around going, well, it's not first year free, it's taxpayer funded. This is the thing. When a government looks at austerity as being a way out of tough economic times, it is provably, you can point to it whenever any other country has done it, it is provably the wrong thing to do. The government should spend money when times are tough because they can get that money cheaply. Our debt loading is low. No matter what Nicola says, our debt loading is very, very manageable. And it's manageable so you can go, shit, the economy's fucked at the moment. We need to spend some money and energize that economy, and then we'll take the foot off the gas when things get good. These guys are economic incompetents, and they just can't see that messaging, and all they're doing is doubling down on punching down on a group that can't defend themselves. The benefit of spending that money now is that those people get that education, they get that job, they start spending money in the economy. It's good for business. You get it all back in tax over a term. Why do I understand this? And our finance minister doesn't. Why do we understand this? And the Prime Minister that said on election night he was going to be the leader of a government for all New Zealanders, not realise that, and all he has is to attack people at the bottom.
Yeah. I know the conversation you're talking about in the chat, but there are people who are saying first year was never free. If what they're saying is because someone's got to pay for it, there's also the opportunity of people are saying it wasn't the case. I just wanted to say this is from this year, the Tertiary Education Commission administrators, the first year free fees or fees free tertiary education and training policy. The government has announced that free fee for the first year of study and training will finish at the end of 2024 and be replaced with the final year fees free scheme. So if anyone was thinking about that, there was no such policy. Well, there is. If you're going that, someone's got to pay for it. Well, someone's got to pay for everything. Someone's got to pay for the roads. Someone's got to pay for the doctors. Someone's got to pay for the nurses. The thing that we don't have to pay for in general is reimbursements to landlords and tax cuts when we don't have enough money to run the country. Those are the things that are costing us.
And if we're talking about that sort of stuff, right? It's all because of Labor. They did a terrible job. They borrowed so much money. Again, our government has borrowed more money than Labor did during COVID.
All bar one.
Once in a generational, once in a generation sort of challenge. They've done that. And they have spent this entire term going, I'm sorry, we don't have money for nurses. We don't have money for police. We don't have money for doctors. We don't have money for teachers. We don't have money for schools. We don't have money for hospitals. It's all too tough. The last guy's left us such a shit bag. First cab out of the rank, tax cuts for landlords.
Empty our piggy bank.
We are going to buy helicopters and we are going to buy missiles, and our defense minister is going to say, if the money is needed, then we will find the money, which definitely sounds like the piggy bank is open for some things.
Yeah.
But it's for toys, not people, not critical infrastructure.
Yeah, it's for bumper stickers come the next election. Here's a clip from this morning. It's only 30 seconds, but I just want to reiterate this thing about who is he talking about, because he is quite specific. And I was like, if we got him to close his eyes and picture who he was talking about, I wonder who that would be.
We actually don't want people sitting on welfare. We want to get people connected to work. And MSD do a great job of actually a whole bunch of programs around job coaches and resume support and skills up training when it's needed. And so we really want to make sure to those young people say, look, hey, listen, it's just not okay to come out of school where you may have had quite patchy school attendance, then go straight on into welfare, onto Jobseeker. We want you to get into work training or education.
So who is that person he's talking about? Do you know what I mean by he's being quite specific? I'm perplexed. There are obviously some people who do that, but it's not the majority of people who come out of school. So I'm worried. And there's a couple of things I want to throw out as well. If they're going to do this, I wonder if they're also then going to raise to 20 the benefits parents are entitled to that normally stop at 18. So if you're now financially responsible for your child until 20, are you going to stop working for families at 18? If you are a DPB, solo parent, I think it's called the sole parent benefit now, are you going to cut those people off when the kid turns 18? Are you double dipping? Are you both saying, we're not going to pay for your 18-year-old? You got to pay for them, and we're going to stop any kind of financial benefit you're entitled to for that child at 18. That's the first thing. The second thing is, on one of the shows this morning, the Prime Minister literally said, or maybe it was in the news item from last night, literally said, you chose to have them. And the reason that sticks in my craw a little bit was, we all know this Prime Minister, when it suits, is not very free choice. In fact, when you sometimes choose to have them, you'll be supported by him. And if you didn't want to have them, then it's, according to him, tantamount to murder. So it doesn't particularly seem appropriate or fair that when it comes to the finances of a family that you're not connected to, you all of a sudden become very pro-free choice. You're a pro-choice Prime Minister. When it comes to other situations, like before that child is born, for the people who are pro-choice, it's tantamount to murder. And that just feels a little hypocritical to me.
Pat?
Yeah.
We love a graph, don't we?
Always. Sexy things.
Here's a graph.
Mm-hmm.
Have I made that real small?
No, I can. It's big. It's big enough-ish.
I can embiggen it. There we go.
It's bigger. Bigger.
That's much bigger. New Zealand youth ages 15 to 19 unemployment rates this century.
Okay,
so
from 2000.
This is the path for the last 25 years. This area, Great financial crisis. Bam!
Yeah.
Fuck, that affected a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And then it has more or less, the through line here, I guess the average line, has trended downwards, even through COVID.
Yeah.
And then
And
the next crisis
there's a
that we've
pretty big spike there. Looks like it's around 2011. Wonder who took over the country then, out of interest. It's looks like it's about that time period. But then yes, it does trend right the way down.
So we have never got it down to what it was before the global financial crisis. But here we've hit another crisis, which is entitled This Government is the Crisis. And there's this big spike. This big fucking spike. And they're not going to solve this by cracking down on people and cracking down on, and again, I want to underline this, people who are legally adults. Like, they should be able to access this sort of thing. Like, at this point, you have people leaving home. You have people that are independent. They don't have to stay at home. This is not how you solve this problem. You can't force people into jobs that don't exist. You know?
Yeah.
Here's another illustration. Unemployment rate 2019 compared to some other markets. You can see Australia, United Kingdom in red, Spain, Euro, OECD average, Mexico, and us in white. So again, 2021, pretty good. And then it has trended up from that and got turbocharged around 2023.
The only really uptick from all the other ones is the UK. All the others seem to be they're at least level-ish. I mean, what's orange? Orange in Australia has ticked up a little bit, but really the two countries that seem to be ticking up are New Zealand and the UK. You might argue Australia a teeny bit, but the others all seem to, even Australia from about the start of 2024 has pretty much leveled out. So everything's leveled out except us in the UK.
We are aberrant in this graph.
Yeah.
So what are we doing wrong? And I would say what we are doing wrong is we all made a mistake last election, big collective mistake. And then the big collective mistake that we ended up with has made a series of economically incompetent blunders after blunder after blunder, because all they are focused on are looking after their lobbyist mates, everybody that donated to them. Now, 18 and 19-year-olds traditionally, famously even, not big donators to the National Party. So why should they get anything? They say around the caucus table. And that's certainly what we've got. And I've got one little example, because it gets real interesting when you start to look at regions. So this is the Rotorua labour market. So there's approximately 30,000 current jobs. They have about 5,000 people on the Jobseeker benefit. And the total job vacancies at the moment?
Basically zero. Basically.
Nothing. That's so where are they going to go?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? And this graph, with some changes, is the same whether you look at the far north, Wellington, Southland, all of these things. You can't force people into jobs that don't exist.
Yeah.
And then blame them from it. You're making, again, adults responsible for the economic crisis that they didn't create.